In this episode of another Zelda podcast, Dan returns to Chicago to build a top 10 favorite fandom projects list with David. Hello and welcome to another Zelda podcast. I'm David Geisler, your host for tonight's episode, and tonight I am joined with guest co-host Dan McCoy. Dan, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for having me back on. It's been a little bit, and I missed you all tremendously.
You know, I guess it has been some time.
It's been at least over a year.
So you are a little behind the curtain. You had to move to St. Louis about a year ago.
Yep.
And I've talked about that a little bit on the show back in season 3.
Back in the loo.
I kind of begged you to come to Chicago to record a couple episodes, and you kind of made some time in your schedule.
Yep.
But in doing so, we realized just the other night when you had come into town and we were out for dinner that you haven't been to Chicago in a year.
Yeah. Like when we moved down, we're like, we love Chicago. It's our home. We're definitely going to be back. We told everyone, within the next couple of months, we're definitely going to find a time. And then fast forward almost 365 days to the day is the first time that I got to finally take a little bit of a vacation from work and just decided to come and crash on your couch for a little bit.
Well, and by couch you mean the guest room. I was so excited to prepare for
metaphorical couch,
yes,
which is actually
literally
a guest
right
bedroom.
here. He just slept right here.
That's my blanket.
That's your blanket. So this is nice. This is fun. This is fun. I promise.
Yeah.
Dan, tonight, what are we talking about?
So tonight, and we went back and forth on what to actually title this one, but I think
it's a tough thing to title.
Yeah. So I think we settled upon top 10 super fan projects.
Yeah, I like that.
And so what we're trying to do is, we're all fans. We're all, we love the franchise. But these couple of people have gone above and beyond with their do-it-yourself projects, either at home or, in game or something like that, that really, we read about and we're like, oh my gosh, these people are 10 out of 10 people. So we just wanted to give a little special shout out, say what they did, and let you guys know about it.
And, really so some I know some of my notes, I kind of have the specific channel or the specific person. If we just in the sake of conversation here don't specifically reference some of these people, we're going to put all the links to these things in our show notes.
Pulled up so that way
just for the fun of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think this is great. I personally, a lot of times, I get really excited about finding different kind of Zelda art and stuff like that that are part of super fans. But I have a kind of a passion. Even as a young kid, I got very, very excited when my parents would take us to the railroad train expos, the miniature train expos that would happen in Milwaukee and Chicago. And
you look like a miniature train expo kind of guy. that does not surprise me in the least bit. In the nicest way possible.
Yeah,
but
that's cool. Thanks, Dan. No, I love it. I remember the first time I got a pack of flocked trees. I was genuinely tremendously excited.
It's just a fun sentence. I just love that.
It's an adorable story that I'd love to tell sometime, but we got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, we do.
So I want to do some listener feedback first, but that's what we're going to be going into.
Let's hit
it. I full disclosure, we wanted to structure this as a top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to be going certainly not from our least favorite to most favorite. We love all of these things, but something that we'll start at the bottom of our list and go up to the things that have moved or impressed us the most.
And some people more hours are spent on this than that, but just because they're lower, it does not. It's just which one we kind of personally like.
This whole thing is just a celebration, and I think there's a bunch of other bunch of other great projects too.
Yep.
But for the fun of it, we tried to turn this into a top 10 just to continue to celebrate. But first, let's do some listener feedback. All right. So I think a lot of our listeners know that I collect this listener feedback as people send things in on YouTube and Twitter and iTunes reviews and all of that, and I literally do screen grabs of their comments and throw them into a folder.
Nice little shout out.
And those listener feedbacks sit in that folder until they get pulled back up. So I have one in front of me right now. I probably haven't read it for months, so it even becomes kind of new for me.
Got it.
So here we go. So Ryan Betts over on YouTube commented on our Hey Listen Volume 3 episode, which, Dan, you were part of our Volume 2 episode, I think, weren't you? That was a lot of fun.
I do enjoy your listener feedbacks. Anything that really gets the commenters and the listeners intertwined with the show, I'm a big fan of that stuff.
It was a choice for Kate and I, and we chose it from the first episode to do listener feedback at the top of the episode. It's a little unconventional, and Something just flashed. Did you see that?
Oh, I have an ad going over here.
Oh, is
I'm
that
so
what it
sorry.
was?
Yeah, it's
Caught something in the corner of my
It's
eye.
caught my eye a couple of times too, but
So anyway, so we kind of made that choice. A lot of times, it's a little more conventional to save it to the end of the episode, but we thought, well, we want to start every episode off with a little bit of that community feel. So let's go for it. So anyway, Ryan Betts here on YouTube commented on our Hey Listen Volume 3 episode, which came out. It was the 14th episode in season 3, and it was Celeste joined me for that one.
love Celeste.
Yes, indeed. Shortly, in a couple weeks from this recording, Celeste will be joining us at the Video Game Summit 2021.
Ugh, so mad I can't go.
We're going to do a live quiz episode, Dan. I'm sad you can't go too.
Which, if it's a quiz episode, is probably for the best that I don't make it. Because if you remember some of my answers from the previous quiz, like I would just like halfway through just be like 7.
You're like, I feel like I'm wasting this chair.
Yeah,
A better
yeah.
person could be in this chair. Did you hear that? I said a better person, not a better
just
contestant.
Yeah, just genuinely a better human being should be here. Thanks for having me back, David. It's been great.
It's been really special.
Get out of here.
Oh, he's walking away. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, so Celeste is we're gonna do it as a quiz episode, but Celeste is gonna MC it with me. I think
cool.
she'll do a question, I'll do a question, she'll do a question. It'll be tons of fun. So anyway, on this episode that I did with Celeste, Hey Listen Volume 3, Ryan Betts says, "These Hey Listen episodes are always great.
Told you.
I wholeheartedly agree with Celeste's pick for the Triforce of Power and Dave's pick for the Triforce of Wisdom. My personal pick for Triforce of Courage." Right. One of the Hey Listen questions was like, if you had to assign characters to the 3 different Triforce people that couldn't be Link, Zelda, and
yeah.
Ganondorf,
Okay.
who would you pick?
Like if that person perished, where's it going to go to next? Your choice?
Yeah, I guess that's a way of thinking about it. Yeah. If those 3 were taken out, who else could hold them? And we have a very loud motorcycle going by right now outside. All the windows are closed, but nevertheless, it came through. Let's see. So this Ryan here says, my personal pick for the Triforce of Courage would have to be Colin from Twilight Princess. Oh, I completely agree.
There's a character named Colin.
Absolutely.
in
We'll
Twilight
talk about it. Although he is extremely young, he puts himself in harm's way to save his friends, Beth, when King Bulblin attacks Kakariko Village. Absolutely. Even Barnes, who's an adult, cowers in fear and allows King Bulblin to then kidnap Colin. In my opinion, the fact that such a young, weak child is so brave while up against such a scary, powerful monster completely embodies the Triforce of Courage.
Absolutely.
And the Zelda franchise as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Keep up the good work, guys. Looking forward to the next season. Well, guess what, Ryan? We're in that season right now. Second episode of season 4. I completely agree. Colin is this wonderful character. In Twilight Princess, Dan, and I know you haven't played Twilight Princess yet, so
It's on my list.
yeah. I think I'm gonna ask you to play Skyward Sword first.
Oh,
to be
yeah.
honest.
That's also on my list, but it's higher than Twilight Princess.
So much so that I think I want to invite you into our Skyward Sword review episode. Maybe it's you, Kate, and I, or
Let's
something
do
like
it.
that.
I'm honored.
Anyways, and that might even be a season 5 thing because I want you to play it at your leisure. The one thing Kate and I have learned with the review episodes is don't rush them.
Okay.
If you rush them, the game starts to stress you out. You
Mhm.
start to enjoy it a little less. It's better to like really just play the games. Okay, fine. Ryan, thank you so much. Colin's a wonderful pick. I could sit here and probably tell you about Colin for the next 15 minutes, Dan.
It's just that the fact that there's a character in Zelda named Colin. Like
Yeah.
you have such interesting names throughout the entire franchise, and here's Colin. Like,
Oh, I see.
don't know.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I get. Oh
everyone
my gosh.
knows the ferocious battle of Ganondorf versus Colin. Like it's just okay.
Another comment on YouTube here for the Hey Listen Volume 3 episode. Jimmy Fillmore said, "I finally caught up, but now I have no more episodes to listen to while I'm at work. I was pretty stoked to have found this podcast, and even more stoked that you guys are also from the Midwest. I'm from Michigan. Oh,
Hey.
nice. I will say I'm pretty disappointed in the lack of love for Wind Waker. That is my favorite Zelda game, and I could go on and on about why that game is so great. Keep up the great content, and I hope all is well with Kate." Indeed.
People love Wind Waker.
And
Like, it's
honestly,
got a
I love Wind
real
Waker.
fan base.
I really do. Kate and I got a little critical on that one back in season 1.
Mhm.
And
Like out of all of the games, I think Wind Waker has probably the most people who want to critique it, but also has the most people who will like jump right on in and be like, no, I love this game. It's just got a really big fan base to it.
the thing is that the first, I don't know, 4 to 5 dungeons in Wind Waker are stellar.
Okay.
The way the game starts is amazing. The narrative, your relationship with this character named Tetra, what you have to do, the islands you're going to, they feel alive and real and wonderful.
Yeah.
And all first, there's 3 really solid dungeons in the beginning.
So fresh.
And
Playing
there's
it
2
just
more.
with the colors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it feels.
You can drop 15 hours just in the first 2, maybe 3 dungeons if you're really truly hitting all the islands and stuff. And every time I go back into Wind Waker, I'm like, oh, I love it. And critics, or if you're looking at it from a critical point of view, the game takes a turn for the second half, and that turn is void of dungeons, and there's a really large fetch quest and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And so it can be perceived, or it could be deduced that regardless of behind the scenes things, when and how the game got made, it does take a very different turn in the second half.
Okay.
And some people like it, some people don't. I would say that I don't like it only because I wish
900 comments just showed up underneath this.
Well, it's one of those kind of like, it's not a backhanded compliment. Well, maybe it is actually. I would love to have, Twilight Princess is almost 14 dungeons. Some of them are kind of half dungeons, and I'm not counting the quality of a game for dungeons. I love Majora's Mask, only 4 dungeons.
Okay.
But those first 3 and even first 5 in Wind Waker are so great that if I could have like even just 3 more solid ones, that would be so much more fulfilling for me emotionally than like a really long fetch quest to go to places that you've pretty much kind of already been to.
Okay.
And at a certain point when you're just bouncing back and forth, you're kind of like, I really feel like I'm just bouncing back and forth.
Yeah.
Anyways, I love Wind Waker too. I know there's some people that it's absolutely their favorite game. I love the mechanics of Wind Waker. I love playing Wind Waker. I love holding the GameCube controller, all of that. But yeah, Kate and I did kind of both go like, oh my gosh, there's only half a game here.
Mm-hmm.
So be it. Okay, so here we go. Over on iTunes, Mile High Link gave us a review, and it says, such a fun podcast. All right, here we go. Mile High Link says, looking for a fun... it's like a pitch. Oh, look at this. Looking for a fun podcast about a video game series that you fell in love with? Well, this is it. All caps. The first 2 seasons of the show have David and Kate as the main hosts, but start to expand further into the AZP family in season 3. It is super fun to hear about all the games that I have played through my childhood and adult life.
Oh, yeah.
I actually just beat Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on the Switch last week.
Congratulations.
Because I had started it about 10 times, but could never finish. And I had a very similar story. I found this podcast maybe a month ago or so and have been binging this nonstop since then. Pardon me. I am suddenly wondering how I will fill my drives to and from work. Lastly, a couple of things about me before I end this review.
Sure.
Number 1, I'm 26. I've been playing Zelda since the 2000s and live in Denver. Number 2, originally from Green Bay, Wisconsin. So yay, Upper Midwest podcasters.
2 for 2 on Wisconsin's. All right.
Yeah, a lot of that's interesting.
Or was the other one Michigan?
I'm from, there was a Michigan, yeah. I'm from Wisconsin, currently living in Chicago. Kate still lives in Wisconsin. Dan, you now live in St. Louis, as we pointed out. Number 3, need to know if Skyward Sword is recommended play or not. I missed it on the Wii, never got a Wii U, and now it's coming to the Switch. Thanks, and I hope we talk again soon. Okay, bye. Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, parentheses. I wish I could insert Triforce emoji here on parentheses.
Why isn't that there yet?
That's a great review.
Love it.
That was awesome, Mile High Link.
I can't really say anything about the Skyward Sword, seeming I haven't played it yet, but if we flash forward to the future, I'm sure I will say it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's a good game, and I'm really pleased that it's coming to the Switch as of this recording.
And the one thing you know about me is I'm a huge fan of large birds. And every time I see a trailer for this, like they always just like introducing 2 large birds.
Yeah, and Dan's like,
okay, I'm here. Let's do it.
Birds, you ride like horses.
Love it.
It's great. Okay, we're going to do one more here from iTunes. Another review, and this is from Nick Alsup. And Nick says, great people. Oh, cool. I found this podcast a few months. You laughing at my reaction there?
No,
that was authentic.
He thinks I'm a great person. You earlier had said I'm not a great person.
Oh, yeah. That's why we couldn't have you at the Video Game Summit.
Hurt my feelings.
Great people. I found this podcast a few months ago, and I'm already halfway through season 2. Since I'm 16, I have more free time on my hands than most. I usually spend 2 hours a day listening to this podcast. I have long been obsessed with Zelda, even though I have never played a top-down Zelda game. This podcast has inspired me to play through several of them. Awesome. I especially love the music-centered episodes, and I am looking forward to a Majora's Mask soundtrack episode. Astral Observatory is magical. That's a location in Majora's Mask. with some cool music. The two hosts are hilarious, and they own the fact that they don't need to be a Zelda expert to be a Zelda fan. It's going to be sad when I catch up with the production of the episodes because it will feel like forever between my next adventure with Kate and Dave into my favorite game series. Keep cranking out those episodes. Well, Nick, I do think we're kind of back on track here for season 4, and we're cranking them out, and it's I am so pleased that is the case.
I love that everyone just binges this entire, like, for how many episodes you have. Everyone's like, I listened to 2 and then I listened to the entire thing.
It kind of does happen.
I love it.
You're
It's
right.
great, you know.
I'm into it. I love it. We designed the show so that you can listen in any order and forever.
You can just put it on random and just hit whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Even I sometimes will just kind of go in and like ping around and be like, oh, I haven't heard this one in a year. I'll try that one out. And then I get to hear Kate say something hilarious, or I get to hear one of our other guests say something hilarious, and it's really nice.
Or sometimes you say things that are hilarious, David.
I don't know if I too often say things that are hilarious.
Well, not too often, but every once in a while you strike gold.
It's funny because I think on this show, I think I'm kind of the, there's always like what the funny character and like the
straight man.
The straight man.
Yeah.
When it comes to me and Kate together, and I guess me and you, I'm kind of the straight man there.
Yeah. Well.
There was kind of something that made me think about something about Skyward Sword. There was a comment somewhere, but I think I'll save it for another episode. Dan, let's do it.
All right.
So we have 5 through 1.
Okay.
And actually, maybe I'll go first just to kick things off. Mine's also, I would say, Wind Waker experience. I do love Wind Waker. Okay, there we go. I didn't want to get into a whole nother loop.
It's like,
about
and
Wind
900
Waker.
comments just showed up again.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, can't get back on Wind Waker. So there's a fan who goes by the name of Wild Huey Uncle.
Sure.
Wild HUI space Uncle. Now this gentleman I think actually is Japanese, and if you go to his website, it's absolutely, you have to absolutely like run the Google Translate Chrome extension if you go there. But he put together he did like a craft where he made a model of Toon Link, a model of the Red Lion boat,
Okay.
a couple seagulls, and I'm trying to bring it up here, Dan, so you can see what I'm talking about.
Real seagulls or fake seagulls?
Absolutely used real seagulls. No, not at all.
Nice. The dedication.
Here we go. So he built a little model here, a little craft model out of popsicle sticks and wood.
Oh my gosh.
And he painted the ocean, and if you turn a little crank, there's a series of exposed gears underneath that make the ocean roll, and the boat then naturally jumps up and down. This is maybe something the size of like a shoebox that you kind of put on your shelf.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And if you notice here, there's other little sockets and sprigs moving around that help the seagulls go up and down, almost the exact same amount of animation that they do in the game.
Yeah.
And it's super cool. Super cool. So I went to this individual's website, and they have a lot of other amazing projects too. They do some really impressive paintings of like what I would describe as like almost like angel characters, these kind of almost like sprite nymphs and stuff like that. Really neat things. And I don't know how else how would you help describe some of this? Maybe it's almost like a clay style model.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those gear-based, almost like a jewelry box, where just it's a small little gear, but it.
Those little, what are they? The mecha mechanisms, like automatons.
Oh yeah,
automatons. It's almost like a weird little Wind Waker boat automaton where you just kind of turn a crank, and it just naturally has like
gear just makes this whole thing look like it's just riding the ocean.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the crank you turn probably affects, I'm looking at maybe 5 other gears here. And the really clever thing is that the ocean is basically, I don't think it's actual popsicle sticks. I think it's like balsa wood or something, but basically we'll call them popsicle sticks. This gentleman has them laid down and hinged on one side of the box so that there's like a rolling larger wheel underneath that makes them go up and down and roll like waves so that the ocean rolls, and then the Wind Waker boat just kind of naturally bobbles up and down on that thing. Super cool, huh?
Yeah, I dig it.
So it was so cool that even Mr. Jeff Keighley tweeted about it, which is I think your royalty then once he does that.
Oh, that's bigwig stuff.
Yeah, he's a kind of a famous. He's been in the games industry as a reviewer and a presenter for decades. He was back. I think he used to be like on G4 and stuff. But anyway.
Oh, very cool.
So that's my number 5.
Okay,
like very cool. Quick thing. Obviously, a lot of work went into it. What do you have?
So for my number 5, I got online and I kind of just Googled stuff around. And the number one thing that I think we have to talk about that cannot be ignored, and it's more than just one person doing this.
Oh,
so
okay. Oh,
this,
wow.
and it is the utterly impressive amount of time and energy and talent that people have spent on these Minecraft like servers to build full replicas of almost all of Hyrule at this point. And I have some photos that we'll look up. But
Do you mean they're building literally in Minecraft?
yeah. Like
Whoa,
they're
I
making
have something similar.
Oh, you have one
It's
of those?
not Minecraft. I can't wait. I'll get to it in my
Yeah.
episode.
Where's it at? It's right through here. But like, I went through and I was watching these, and
Dan,
just
I think
like
that's in real life. I'm looking at the image. I'm seeing a topographical map.
this one. No, this is a different one because I
Oh,
was gonna
okay.
do not only just Minecraft, but this is a fan-made Super Mario 64 inspired expansion of Breath of the Wild, where they took what looks like just kind of a Mario level. There's a flag at the top. There's a little like greened area with a little fence around it, and just the amount of talent that it takes to build these things, or build in Minecraft, or like even code your own kind of areas. I am literally blown away by the amount of time and effort that these takes. Oh, it's just fantastic. Like the amounts of mods and fan-made expansions and all of these that are out here. So this is my top 5 because there's almost too many to really name. I mean, just go to Google, type in Legends of Zelda, either expansions, mods, Minecrafts, and you will go down a rabbit hole where your eyes will just and your mouth will just be open and going like, oh, for like a good solid couple of minutes.
So what was some of the standout? So again, you're looking at images that are literally taken inside the Minecraft engine?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I have some in their videos because, you can record going through. So I don't necessarily want to play them right now.
Right, of course.
But we can put a link maybe to
Let's
some
throw
of
in
them
those show notes.
and people can see them. But like these are some really, really impressive stuff out there.
There's always a lot of neat things to see that people build in Minecraft, and sometimes. Are you hearing music? I'm hearing music. Oh, I think my Wind Waker tab is still going here. Anyways, I'll reel it in. You hear it?
A little bit. I just assumed there was another ice cream truck going down the
I
street.
think I'm just gonna put my computer on mute. There we go. Because I can't find out what tab it is. Anyways, Minecraft builds are cool. Sometimes it's like a single person. Sometimes it's a community. They'll go in on the same server and they'll all work on certain parts of different buildings and stuff. Neat.
So
I love it.
That's a fun one. That's the one that I really, really, and like I said, there's so many to name, but I just really was blown away by those kind of mods and expansions.
So my number 4 isn't too far off. It's just in the real world. There's a tremendous amount of fan-made Lego kits. Not Lego kits, but like Lego constructions. And over the years I've come across a ton. I subscribe to a lot of these like Lego build YouTube channels.
Sure.
And there's always conventions, Lego conventions of fan-made things. They do a whole thing of Lord of the Rings, there's group projects where each person takes a stage, like a 2 foot by 4 foot section.
Now, are these Lego sponsored, or is it just kind of like fans get together?
Oh, I'm so glad you should ask.
Oh.
So what I thought I might point out is that about a half a year ago, so there's always like fan-made Zelda. There's some really good Breath of the Wild ones where basically that's when you're starting to have the Lego thing become an art form, not just putting a kit together.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain amount of art in all Legos, but this is when you actually have builders that are they might as well be molding with clay. They're doing so much detailed work with the Lego pieces to make these models and these constructions, and not just Zelda stuff, but I want to focus on the Zelda stuff. The thing that got me kind of excited is a few months, how there's like those Mario Brother Legos that are out there now.
Yeah.
And you kind of like they're an interesting take. They're an interesting take on the Mario Brothers
because they weren't necessarily like building something. It was like a set where somebody jumps, and it was like a connector. Kind of build set.
I think Nintendo was kind of involved with Lego in the construction or the creation of that, the concept, and I think the idea was, can the Mario Lego kits not just be recreations of Mario things? Can they be a way for kids to build their own game or something?
Yeah.
And to some degree, I know they had a certain amount of technology go into that digital Mario character, and when the bottom of his character model touches other things, there's like light NFC stuff.
When he hits
I
like
think
the
there's
question block.
I think there's a little bit of this like almost amiibo style technology that's going on there, just to know what he's stepping on. Okay, fine. But artistically, that is a stylized interpretation of the Mario universe, whereas a lot of these Lego builds for Zelda are not photorealistic, but they're still in the same art style as a lot of the Zelda games. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a lot of people. There's Hoke Bricks is a individual who actually listens to the show a lot, and they're constantly showing us different models that they've built. They've done a few Zelda things here and there, but about 6 months ago, Lego kind of put out a ping to the masses, we'll say. And they said, we would like anyone to do some fan builds because we want some ideas for new, I guess, franchises or whatever, sure. IPs to represent.
Okay.
And they allowed the community to build some models. And there immediately was some Zelda themed
without a doubt,
Lego kits. And so they also got mocked up here, and I'm going to show you some graphics. So a concept for some of the Zelda kits are here on a spreadsheet or not a spreadsheet, is a website that I'm showing Dan. And one of the things we're looking at is a link with an actual Master Sword, and we've got a Hyrule Castle being built. And so these are fan builds. Oh, look, Angry Chickens.
Oh, my favorite.
The Town Market kit idea. And these are all designed to be Lego kits that could be realized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because this is on a Lego website too.
Well, okay, so what happened was Lego basically, I ended up, if I'm doing this from memory, this part, but they kind of picked 2 or 3 things that they were like, whoa, we're interested. They didn't officially say, yes, we're going to do it, but they kind of picked winners from this thing. And the Lego kits were one of them, to my understanding. And so I think hopefully, if all goes well, we can be in store for some fun Lego kits that might become reality someday.
Nice.
Now, maybe they won't be realized exactly how we're seeing here on this website.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be certain tweaks that they have to put out or something of that degree, you know.
Absolutely. But these ideas were put forward, and I would love the idea. And again, the point I'm trying to make here is that if Lego were to cue off of these submissions, we would be doing a little bit more of the kind of artistic, like building a castle that really does look like Hyrule Castle. Yeah. Not necessarily trying to make a version of a Zelda game in Lego. Yeah. Which I totally support for the Mario stuff. But I think this would be super fun.
Oh, this is awesome.
In fact, I tweeted a little bit about this on the Zelda podcast, and Hoke Bricks lives in Gurnee, Illinois, pretty nearby. And we keep trying to find an excuse to do an episode together with AZP. And I was like, all right, if this becomes a reality,
it's done.
Hoke's in. You know what I mean?
Without a doubt.
If I'm pronouncing HOKAYBRICKS correctly.
Okay, Bricks. I like it.
It's Hoke Bricks over on Instagram. Okay, so that's my number 4. Is all of the Zelda builds, but it was kind of neat that one of them is potentially getting pretty close to maybe being a real thing.
Well, and so there's the Zelda ones, but I think I've seen these because like didn't Friends also like
was that one of the submissions maybe that ended up becoming real?
I want to say so. And like I did
Friends is real as of now.
Yeah, like it's the coffee shop or something like that.
It's their apartment. It's the 2 apartments.
Oh, is it the apartments? I thought it was the
there might be the coffee shop too, honestly.
Yeah, because I remember something came out and then somebody did like The Office. They tried to do one of those.
Yeah, and then there was a weird one where like a third-party company ended up doing an Office Lego and they sold it through Target. It was a little weird. It wasn't real Lego.
I remember somebody came up, and I know this isn't Zelda, but they were like, "Oh, there's Office Legos," and I was like, "Oh my god, I got so excited! I'm a big Office fan," and I ran back and I was like, "Where's it at?" And it was just like, "Oh, this."
Yeah, not like actual Legos.
Yeah. I mean, it looked great.
Yeah, it did.
Don't get me wrong, but like that didn't have the Lego thing on there. I was like, you shouldn't have used the L word. So, like,
oh man, I actually was at the Lego store downtown Chicago just the other day, and to get the International Space Station for my dad for Father's Day. And by the way, my dad's never done a Lego kit before.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was really scared to give it to him, if I may just get personal for a second, because he's an engineer. He's kind of he's a straight arrow. He doesn't really do much that's too creative or anything. I've always felt support from him. That's all great and everything, but like, you know, he's not really like a toy guy.
Yeah.
And I actually said it to him for Father's Day. I said, Dad, we've been getting you socks and ties for a decade. Like, I really wanted to just get you a toy. And he starts ripping it open. He sees like the edge of the International Space Station fins and the Lego thing. And he legitimately is like, whoa, this is awesome. And so he was telling me how excited he was to put it together. And I was so happy about that.
I would love to get something like that for my dad. Yeah. Except he does like very, very intricate, detailed, modeled airplanes. So like I think and my dad, like he really puts the detail, like I remember going into his den and he just had like 100 little paints of like different.
He was that.
Oh yeah, and he would pop them out and then he would shave the pieces down so there's no extra.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, when my dad does something, he does it.
I might be returning to the 100 bottles of paint here with my second thing after the break, but that's cool.
Yeah, and so like I would love that, but he would be done with it in 6 seconds. He'd be like, "Oh, cool, I'm done."
Well, secretly, maybe I'm hoping that. Well, I don't know if I have like an agenda with my dad. I just wanted to get him something.
Sure.
You know, he likes to watch golf or basketball games or whatever, and he has a little bit of a coffee table that has a flat surface, and I'm visualizing hopefully him kind of poking around, picking around, and putting these things together, and I think that could be fun. But not Zelda, so we're getting a little off topic.
Sorry, yeah. So very cool, awesome, love the Legos. So my next one. So this is my number 4.
Yep, and I think we'll go to break after this 4.
Sure. So this one, it's a little bit kind of the first one, but in my research, so there are mods and there are expansions, and then I found that people have created their own Zelda games,
like ROM hacks?
So
because I got some cool stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like there's some ROM hacks, but like there is an area called or a game called Legend of Zelda: The Missing Link, where somebody has apparently created an entire game just through, I don't know if it's RPG Maker, and I don't have all the details in front of me.
Yeah.
But like it's just they have a trailer, they like have a release date, all this other stuff.
Nice.
And so I was really excited. I was looking into it, and then I found that I guess Nintendo kind of came up and did a cease and desist.
Yeah.
And so it's like I found another one like Nintendo shuts down, but like this person has gone and made just was a Nintendo and made their own game. And there was another one that it looks like I can't find the link right now, but it was like Solarus, and they created 2 different games that way. And I was blown away by like how awesome these things are.
You know, we a few months ago spoke to the Rogue Hero guys.
Oh, yeah.
And they were massive Zelda fans. And they actually talked a little bit about how they were trying to honor A Link to the Past. And they had to kind of like that line of like, are you too close to the actual Nintendo thing? You don't want to, you don't want to be breaking the trademark or the IP.
Yeah.
And I think that I remember them saying in one of the interviews, the 2 gentlemen that did Rogue Heroes, from Heliocentric Studios, produced by Team 17, or published by Team 17, they were saying that there was like one point where they had a flower that could explode, and essentially it was a bomb flower.
Yeah.
And I think like even maybe Team 17 kind of was like, guys, we got to be careful.
Yeah,
we got to switch
real close.
We got to switch that up.
And so here's the other one: The Legend of Zelda: Mystery of Solaris.
Okay.
DX. I mean, there's screenshots, and you can see them, but like this is what they've made.
Oh, this is 100% A Link to the Past art style.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's like that, but it has its own kind of a little bit of the animated flair.
Well, the renditions, absolutely. I think the sprite work there is pretty much A Link to the Past.
And so I think this one had another sequel to it. You can download this one right now. But the games I love.
Yeah.
I could never fathom just being, I love that. Time to make my own,
I mean,
and like,
doesn't it sound like the coolest thing in the world?
Yeah,
though? Like, wouldn't that be the best?
I would love to do that, but I'm just that's for people way more talented and cooler than I am.
Oh man, interesting. Yeah, fan games are tricky. There's that whole famous story about another Metroid remake, which was the remake of Metroid 2 and stuff. And this guy like worked on it for 10 years all by himself, and it had fan support and all that stuff. And obviously Nintendo wanted to like shut it down. I remember one time I was perusing Twitch almost 5 years ago, and I was watching it and I was like, what is this expanded version of Super Metroid?
Yeah.
And it wasn't at all, but it was so close that it really looked like it was made by Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And
so you got to be careful, but this expression of creativity and stuff is just the neatest thing.
I mean, what I can't. This is beyond me. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right?
100%, absolutely.
And so, I mean, Zelda should be very flattered. Very, very flattered. I mean,
I think for the most part, they are. So whoever they is. Wow, that looks like fun. I'm looking at the screenshots here. I want to play this thing. Yeah. So it almost looks like it might be a ROM hack or something where they're dealing with some of the original assets, but I could be mistaken. We're looking at the Solaris one right now.
Mm-hmm. And then the other one, the one that had the cease and desist is...
that one. Those graphics look totally new.
Let's see if we can get a graphic. I mean, this one's a video. So
yeah, I get it.
And then it has like, apparently...
Oh, this is 3D.
Yeah, this is the one that like... well, so it's a... yeah, I guess this doesn't have, but... the Ocarina of Time remake, this is the one you're looking at is I guess the 3D rendition of they did using that engine.
Is that the Unreal Engine one?
Yeah,
yeah. That surfaces on YouTube every couple months. They render a little bit more, but it's not like a working game that's being put out yet. So I think nobody minds just yet.
Yeah,
but boy, it's inspiring.
Oh yeah,
cool. Dan, let's go to break and we'll come back. And my stuff gets pretty. Oh my gosh, I think all three of mine deal with like arts and crafts, like crazy arts and crafts.
Mine are pretty cool as well. All
right, cool. I will see you on the other side of this break, and there it is.
There it is.
One heist, 6 plots for betrayal. When Raya Cautela cons 5 other thieves into helping her steal a magical artifact from the most powerful man in the world, she knows she's playing with fire. What she doesn't know is that the rest of her crew is just as underhanded as she is, and they all have plans of their own. M.J. Kuhn's Among Thieves, a fantasy heist novel full of twists, turns, and betrayal, available beginning September 7th wherever books are sold. Visit mjkuhn.com for more details.
Hey, this is TC.
And this is Jim from the Studio Demands It podcast,
where every episode we take a demand from a hypothetical studio,
which could be you,
and challenge ourselves to conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film based on the stipulations
or the demands
we are given. We talk about movies all the time. Particularly, we complain about the choices made in the films we've seen.
We're nerds like that.
And, of course, like any good nerd does, we automatically assume that we could do better.
Even with the demands and restrictions that clearly must have been put on by a production.
So head on over to studiodemandsit.com and listen to our previous library of episodes. Our library of previous episodes. Our precious library, Jim. Our library of precious episodes.
You're a pirate, Smeagol.
Okay. So head on over to studiodemandsit.com to listen to our library of episodes.
And submit your demand for a future episode, too.
So go do that.
Okay, bye.
Okay, end of ad.
Jake, have you ever been looking for a definitive Nintendo ranking and can't seem to find it because it's just everybody's own opinion?
Honestly, all the time, Sam.
Well, I'm looking for someone to give us the answers.
Wait, you mean like a podcast made by 2 young, handsome men where they create a definitive top 5 list of all things Nintendo?
Should we just do it ourselves?
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Let's give it a shot. I'm Sam.
And I'm Jake.
And at Top 5 Nintendo, I'm going to give you my top 5 list.
And I'm going to give you my top 5 list.
And then we're going to duke it out and see what the real top 5 is.
And we are back from the break. Dan, I feel like we're kind of on a roll here. I don't want to waste any time, and I just want to keep on going.
Okay, let's do
We
it.
just finished our 4s. I guess I'll go to my 3. Is that all right?
No.
Perfect. So, I hope this one's cool. I think it's
I'm gonna
flippin'
judge
awesome.
I'm gonna judge it pretty harshly because that 3 giggle buildup is.
I love playing Zelda games. They're part of my favorite games.
Okay.
Category. But almost immediately next to that, my favorite genre of game to play are like kind of what's called like God games.
Okay.
Sometimes they're nicknamed that, but essentially they're the kind of builder games. Build a city, build a
Like
theme park.
like Sims kind
You
of
could say
stuff?
they're like the Sims games. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now I currently almost every other day dip into Jurassic Park Evolution, where you build your own Jurassic Park parks,
Okay.
or Jurassic World Evolution or whatever. City Skylines, and also Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, all of which I have on my Switch right now. I run Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic on my iPad, and growing up I would play a bunch of Zoo Tycoon.
Okay.
I love these kind of like outside, build it, grow it kind of games. They're absolutely my favorite kind of game to play. If I'm inside a Zelda game, that's all I play. But like beside, okay, fine. So there's a game called Planet Coaster. I don't know if you've heard of it or not.
Nope.
a quick, tiny little bit of background.
Is it a planet dedicated to people who put their drinks on small coasters?
You nailed it, actually.
Because I feel like
And so what you do in this game is you scroll around and you take a look and you make sure that everyone's putting their cups on coasters.
Mhm.
And if they're not, you have to try to design a
Do you
system.
then put it on a coaster?
Yeah. Well, you click on it and move it.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got to put it back on a coaster.
I'd
The whole
play
planet.
I would play this game.
Listen, two times a week I log in and I play Planet Coaster to make sure that there aren't going to be any rings on any wooden furniture, because that stuff can really damage it.
I know. People don't respect coasters enough.
I don't know if they do. So I want to talk about a gentleman who designed a Zelda-themed coaster.
Okay.
Unlike the Zelda-themed coasters we're using. Okay, we're going to get off the coaster bit. So there's a game called Planet Coaster, and the team that it has roots with the Roller Coaster Tycoon series. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
I'm going to keep actually, I would love to go into a whole diatribe about this, but the Roller Coaster Tycoon franchise as it is today is not what it was during 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
A bigger company bought it, started using the name, that whole thing, changed the team. So the original team went off and had to make something else that, in my opinion, is really quite interesting and impressive. But they had to name it a different thing, and so that we go into this Planet Coaster. And there's also now I think there's Planet Zoo or whatever. But anyway, Planet Coaster, fine, title's fine.
Sure.
I think maybe a little misleading because you aren't building a whole planet, but perfectly fine.
What?
You're not building a whole planet.
I hope it comes with a receipt. Because
Hope it comes with a receipt.
I'm telling you, if you give me Planet Coaster and there's not a planet nor a roller coaster in it, those are the only two things I really asked for.
Well, there's definitely plenty of coasters, but Planet Coaster has a really impressive scenery building engine.
Okay.
So, back in the Roller Coaster Tycoon days, sometimes you could kind of just download, not download, but you'd just select maybe a pre-rendered sprite of the Wild West Saloon or the dinosaur or
Yep.
The wooden cabin.
Tropical or
Yes.
coral reef.
Yeah, and it was all on a grid system, and that's fine. Well, Planet Coaster has a tremendously robust system where you can bring in all these assets and you can kind of snap them or you can build differently. And so a gentleman who has a YouTube channel titled Attacking Toucans, and I don't know if it's I don't know if the well, here's the thing. I don't know if the toucans are attacking or if you're attacking the toucans. Because his header is a toucan coming at the screen he's attacking you.
Okay, that's the way I was hoping this was going, and not he's
but maybe that toucan's
he just
flying away for its life.
Yeah, maybe he had a bad incident with Fruit Loops growing up, and just he had to stick with getting all the toucans away from him as much as possible.
He said, "Never again. I'm going to attack them all." So attacking toucans actually has basically kind of more like a Planet Coaster. It's interesting. His channel is a lot of Planet Coaster builds.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of full on just cool Zelda stuff too.
Okay.
But it all comes together in a 12 episode series in which this guy builds a Zelda themed roller coaster inside Planet Coaster.
Okay.
And when I say builds a coaster, it's nuts. Episodes, 20-minute episodes of him going in, designing the coaster. He builds a full Hyrule castle, putting trim on the edges, putting railings on all the balconies and the walkways and everything, building all this up inside this theme park.
All digital.
All digital. Yeah. It's all, you're just going into the game, kind of like Minecraft. This is why I said I kind of have one like it.
Yeah.
And he goes in and he builds it, and you're attaching light sources. He's attaching trigger events to the coaster. So I'll just kind of skip to the end here. When you virtually get on the coaster in the game and it takes off from the loading station, there's obviously trigger points because there's lights going off where Navi is talking, or a person who's just doing Navi's voice. Navi is talking to the coaster come with me, follow me, my way. It's a fully realized and conceived roller coaster inside this game. A game it might as well be Hagrid's motorbike challenge or whatever that coaster is called.
Yeah,
because there's animatronic moments and stuff like that.
It's straight out of a Disney Universal Studios theme park.
He put so much thought into this. It's so cool, and then the fact that it was built in this video game is even neater. So the coaster itself seems pretty good. It seems like a pretty if you're looking at it just for roller coaster standards, there's some cool hyperbanked turns.
Okay,
there's stuff like that. It's basically a blue coaster with silver track, and then he kind of built up what looks like one of those rock walking monsters from Breath of the Wild. It's down there. He has a couple other trigger events. So the first half of the coaster comes out of the castle, and you're going around the castle and kind of going around different lands. There's
Sure.
vaguely like the
Oh,
Goron
so
area.
you're not in the castle. You're straight Hyrule at this point.
So the castle's like the loading building.
Oh.
Even though I would say that maybe the loading building only takes up 10%. The loading area only takes up 10% of the castle that he built.
Yeah.
And so you start underground and then it comes out and you go around the outside lands for a while, but then the second half of the coaster dips into the ground and is in a cave where there's like a boss battle and there's spider webs.
There's a boss
fully
battle.
themed. The whole second half is basically a roller coaster dark ride, fully themed with appropriate assets to evoke a Zelda atmosphere. The only thing that's like explicitly Zelda is he took a couple JPEGs of Zelda games and put them up as pictures in the line queue loading area. Because yes, he also built the line queue, and then you can walk the camera through it.
Oh my
Super
gosh.
cool. Attacking toucans. I found this guy's 12 episode series just because it kind of hit my algorithm a while back.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, Zelda roller coasters and creation games
It's the only thing in your Google
it's
search.
pretty much my main tags. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's basically the only thing you use the internet for nowadays. I gotcha.
And it's super cool, and I highly recommend it. Obviously, we'll have the links below, but the dedication in the building is so neat because my next two selections are basically like real world craft selections where a tremendous amount of craft and artistry is taking place. But this is one where it was taking place inside a builder game already.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's a very robust builder game, but this individual toucan or attacking toucans pushed what the game could do to its max. You know what I mean? In such a great way.
That is fantastic. Okay, so
Yeah.
moving on. My number 3, we're on 3, right?
3.
Is 3. And so I was, kind of looking through, trying to find things that were like, as we say, super impressive in the fan world.
Yeah.
And so just a little bit of a precursor before this is I play a lot of board games. Like board games are some of my favorite things out there. Many nights have been spent playing, like, for instance, Settlers of Catan. And it's a tried and true. And if you go online, you can find people have like built their own customizable board.
Yes.
So that way you don't have to use the cardboard. Not that there's anything wrong with using the cardboard.
But they'll 3D print them, they'll model craft them.
Yeah. And so, it's there's a lot of like wood cut out where each tile is like, this has the sheep on it, this has the wood. Or even they're 3D where the forest is a little bunch of trees, actual real trees.
Are they flocked?
They are super flocked.
You have to use, or maybe you use a little static grass.
Almost too flocked, some would say.
Oh my.
I don't even know what that looks like. So knowing what those look like, somebody has taken the Breath of the Wild map and done just that and created a 3D wood printed
Dan,
board
thing's
of
beautiful.
this. I mean, it's breathtaking. Like, and then, if I can try and make this a little bigger, but like
I can see it.
it looks like, we have the Gorn area up here, we have the desert area, like, and I love for the sand area, it's nothing because it's so
it's just
flat.
the wood, right?
It's just the wood,
desert's
except for
basically
the
base
small
wood.
little outpost you have
The
through here.
outpost. Looking at this right now, this exact one, the artistry is tremendous, and it's mildly interpreted. I don't think it's like one for one the map. But that doesn't matter. It's representing all the things it needs to represent. All the rivers, like there might be a little distortion. Like I think the Goron city is like a little bit closer to Central Hyrule than maybe it actually is. But boy, oh boy, that's nitpicking because this thing, look, it has the cove for the Yiga clan right there.
Mhm.
Like
It
you can
even
recognize spots.
Has the legend for like, because there's markers all over it, so it's not just.
I mean, now that I look at it, maybe the Goron Mountain is in the right place. I think it's just the angle. I think we're kind of looking, basically we're looking at Hyrule map from Gerudo Desert up, not so much from, Lorena Village or whatever up. We're kind of facing southwest here, I think, not necessarily north.
Yeah.
That's maybe where the transition, because there's clearly a lot of work going in. It's like a topographic map.
Yeah.
And you can tell that you can see that's where the 7 ladies are.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and I stumbled upon this, and can you imagine having this as like just your coffee table? Like I don't have the actual dimensions of it, but just putting like a pane of glass over it, and so
Yes, I can imagine that. It's amazing.
yeah, and so I found this one, and then also I found this other one which is a little bit more.
Oh,
this,
wow.
See, this isn't Breath of the Wild.
No, that's A Link to the Past.
Yeah, this is A Link to the Past, and it has Link to the Past wood burned right on the side of it. But it is basically, it has all the individual towns. It's a lot more chip based, so it's a lot more blocked off.
Well, what I'm seeing here is an effort to take what's a 2-dimensional, A Link to the Past is a 2D map, but they have to imply 3D. So when you look at it, it's kind of funny with these, 2D maps from the 1990s is they accurately represent the roof of a building because sometimes you have to walk on it, and they also accurately represent the front wall of a building.
Yeah.
But they're technically flat. So like if you have, this is kind of what the Link's Awakening remake for Switch had to deal with. If you have a building that takes up 9 tile sprites to represent 6 of those tile sprites to be a roof and the 3 bottom ones to be a wall, in reality, that building only takes a 2x3 grid set.
Yeah.
But on a 2D map, it takes up 9 tiles.
Yeah.
So it looks like this individual is trying to reinterpret those 9 tiles into the 6, you could say. And what we're looking at right now is a 3-dimensional representation of A Link to the Past's main map.
Yeah. And so you have the castle in the middle. Like, I love
And the mountains in the back actually go up really high. I wonder if they go up the amount of units that they go back on the actual map. It's looking
all,
pretty accurate.
It's all ratioed out. And I just noticed this, one of my favorite thing. Who sells this?
I don't know.
It's Link.
Sold by Link?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the seller's name is their avatar's name is Link or whatever?
I just saw it. It's like sold by Link. Okay, cool.
What's that going for right now?
Right now, $450.
I mean, there's a lot of work that went into that. That's cool. And it's also kind of one of those one of a kind things.
Mm-hmm. Free shipping. So
we have no official connection to what we're talking about right now.
Oh, but yeah. So 3D printed, hand painted. What you see is what you get. Stand it's about 7 inches or 7 by 7. It looks like for the stand is removable, but love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Wait, that thing's so small that it's 7 inches by 7 inches?
Well, it says stand is removable and mesh. So like the stand may be.
No, I mean, I'm almost more impressed because there's a lot of detail here. I thought this thing was like 2 feet by 2 feet because of the detail, but if it's teeny tiny, that's even more impressive.
Yeah, this could be fairly. I mean, if you.
I guess so. Cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh
so
my.
just the like I just see these and I just like I said it calls back to like these fan made game boards and everything and you like I would just get this and just stare at it like it would just be a display piece where I just get home from work and be like, what are you doing, Dan? Oh, I'm gonna go stare at my maps for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean we all do it. You kind of pretend you're a character walking around and even like flat maps and stuff. I have my second monitor on my computer right now, all just 2D sprite maps, and so they just rotate on a 5-minute cycle, and I get to just look at them.
Just take your little like Link amiibo and pretend he's Godzilla walking all over people.
The Link amiibo was probably the size of Zelda's castle there. Anyways, wow, that's cool. I'm noticing a trend here. By accident or not, we're picking a lot of like things that have been built and crafted, and maybe that's just speaks to the people that we are, you and I.
Yeah.
Because I don't have this on my list, but I've seen so many tremendous like cosplay moments.
Oh yeah.
And like full costumes. There's a guy who like breaks down Zelda songs and reinterprets them. There's all these musicians that reinterpret them.
Yeah, there's full on like albums upon albums upon albums of like ocarina music where they just create their own songs or remix and remixes.
We might have to return to this topic sometime and almost try to reach out into those mediums too, because I think very much by accident my next 2 are also things that people built. And I guess that's just where this episode took us this time. Yeah.
I have one more build and one more, I think, electronic kind of fun thing.
Well, I think I'm going to go to my number 2.
As you wish.
Because I think you just did your 3 technically, right?
Yep.
Mine's, and also I'm a little embarrassed, my top 3 are YouTube channels.
Shame. No, that's amazing.
Or rather, they're individuals that are artists that choose to share some of this through YouTube channels. One of these I found through YouTube, one I did not. But there's a channel called Once Upon a Workbench.
Okay.
And it's this guy who I also subscribe to a number of like these kind of like projects, like, oh, this is my project for the week, YouTube channels. My favorite stuff to watch. So the mix of artistry and actual like building things, love it. So anyway, Once Upon a Workbench, that channel, I don't know the gentleman's name, but he I don't know if it was a half a year ago or something, released a video where he built a 2-scale replica of Link's house from Breath of the Wild
Link's house from Breath. Oh yeah, I forget.
Yeah, I know. People call it Link's house. It's the house that Link can buy.
Yeah.
In Breath of the Wild, in Hatno
where,
Village.
It's where Link hangs his stuff up on the walls.
Yes, indeed. And
Got it.
even to this day, sometimes people will say like Link's house, and sometimes I kind of forget what that is.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of like, what are you talking about? It's in the Kokiri Forest. Oh no, that's Ocarina.
Yeah, that's where my brain went.
Yeah.
Was like that small little opening area in the beginning of
In
Ocarina of Time. You know.
Totally. And we don't really. There's some lines of dialogue in Breath of the Wild that joke about how maybe that house that Link buys kind of was his in the first place anyway. If you really pay attention to some of the dialogue from like Bolson, there's a little bit of like, yeah, it's been empty for 100 years and stuff. Like there's a little bit of like wink, wink, nod, nod that maybe it was Link's house anyway.
Okay.
So
I assumed he would have lived in the castle.
Well, if he was Zelda's knight, I would assume that too, but maybe
You'd have to be
not.
kind of close. It's not like she's in trouble. It's like, wait, the knight will be here in like 45 minutes. Just hold on.
He's
You know,
yeah, right. He's coming from across the field. Yeah.
Smoke signals, just like Link, wake up.
It's interesting. Because we now know from the canon of Age of Hyrule that he was appointed to be Link's or Zelda's knight, right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
We knew a little bit of that from the cutscenes from Breath of the Wild. But anyway, so Link's house, it's a cute little house. It has a little like horse stable along the side. I'd love right now on air, Dan, to bring this thing up and show it to you, but I think it would just be 5 minutes of us going, ooh, ah, ooh, yeah, and look at that.
Sure.
But it's amazing. He even went so far as to bring the game like on a TV. He was looking at the house with his camera, drawing on graph paper to make sure that every little mock stone and the chimney and every single thing was like the right angle and proportion.
Wow. Yeah.
When you see a screenshot of this thing, if you don't realize that you're looking at a house that's actually a playhouse that is 4 feet tall in a suburban backyard, it looks like it's in the game.
Oh, that's great.
It's so real. And it was super cute because then the way that he built it for his kids. I mean, he kind of built it as a project, but also for his kids. His kids were a little bit a part of it. He has a daughter and a son. What's up?
I was gonna say, like, how many of the upgrades did he put in there? I mean, is it like, because I know you can spend,
you know, it's so funny you should ask, because actually he did mock up a couple.
I was gonna say, like, does he have things on the walls?
So he
like,
did
the
do like,
gears
he
that
did make some gear.
Okay.
Yeah, he made some gear and put it up there. And then the kind of that balcony that Link's bedroom ends up going on.
Yeah.
Well, if you keep it to scale, that kind of becomes like a kid's bed.
Sure.
The whole balcony basically becomes a kid's bunk bed.
Yeah.
And that's what they did up there. And so then the kids can play around with the bottom and everything. And he had to make it kind of weatherproof and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Super cool video. Loved it. It was touching. It was creative. His kids were absolutely just as excited about it as he was to make it. Recommend 10 out of 10. Once Upon a Workbench was the YouTube channel. All right.
Now
That's my number 2.
I'm going to, for my number 2, kind of piggyback off that a little bit, because I have a bringing to life full scale kind of a. So I found this on, where am I? Imgur. How do I say that?
IMGUR. I think it's Imager.
Imager.
You're supposed to, it's like, it's all those tech things.
It's, yeah.
You got to
so
take a vowel out.
IMGUR. I found it that by.
I guess they do that so that they can trademark the name, by the way, a lot of times.
Sure.
Like that's where it came from. Like taking out the E for Twitter and Flickr and all that stuff. It was really just like you can actually make it your own word. But anyway.
So this is by Echoing Pulse. And what they have done is they have taken their backyard and literally made it into a complete Zelda themed everything.
What?
So I got some photos.
Holy moly!
I mean, starting from the beginning, it's a large gazebo, and that's just the middle of it.
Dan, what I'm looking at right now almost looks like it's a full size house with. It looks like almost
pillars.
like one of these how people will like remake their house for Halloween or something is what I'm looking at.
It looks like somebody may have taken it's almost like a garage.
It is fully
maybe
themed.
with no like walls, because you can see pillars. But if you go through, like, even before we get to the Zelda aspect of it, all of the greenery they put on there, because it goes through and it shows her painting all.
Oh, those are like fake vines.
Yes, she started from vines. The larger and you guys,
oh my gosh,
we need to put this because you need to see
this is stage set direction.
Yeah, I mean, this is theatrical. I mean, I've seen high-end stage plays that don't have this much production value. And then they go down. Of course, they have like some wood-cut Zelda Hyrule symbols coming out, put up everywhere. They have scatullas.
Oh, look at this! They're actually spiders with skulls,
like huge size of your face scatullas, if not larger, that they put on the trees made out of foam. They use epoxy resin to endure the elements, so that way, if it storms, we're good to go. They have the Hyrulean shield out there. They have
That's the lens of truth right there.
Lens of truth they have, and then
Majora's Mask.
and then we're getting just to the masks that I guess adorn the trees in the backyard. I saw it and I was like,
Was this for an event or a thing?
You know,
It's just done?
there's not a lot of like whys other.
There's a
than
lot of
just
photos
past-
here in this.
and so
I guess it's imagery.
you know, they have Majora's Mask going up on the tree. They have more Scatolas. They have what's this one?
That's the Deku mask from
Deku
Majora's
mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got
Midna.
Midna's, she's there, and these all go on the trees. But really, and they just keep going. They're fantastic, and it has some images of them putting
This
it
is
all
nuts.
together. But my favorite is what it looks like they took a large rock. And then they have the
There's the three gems or emeralds that you get in Ocarina: the forest, the water, and the Goron one.
So-
and I'm seeing a Master Sword now.
and so it looks like they have a Master Sword, and I don't know where they got it or if they made it because it doesn't have photos. But if they did, I would totally believe it.
Yeah.
And it looks like they've drilled into it. It looks like a rock, could be a foam rock, and they have it inserted into the rock.
Yep.
So it's very much a sword in the stone, and
Well-
it looks like it's at the very, very end of this path. So that way you go through the Scatolas, you go through the masks, you go through the sheiks, and then at the very end you have this backlit, beautifully glowing Master Sword because the lighting that they've also used in this.
Yeah, we can't underemphasize that how much lighting is happening here.
And so at the very, very end, they even have like glow in the dark flowers glowing around it.
Yeah.
And just you would have the best barbecue you'd ever have if this was
I mean, you're
open
right.
for rent. And they even like next to the Midna tree, they have a wolf in chains as a nice little homage to
This is
Twilight
theatrical
Princess.
grade lighting.
Yeah. And then they have a giant owl that they put in the tree as like the homage to
It's Kaibora Gabora, yeah.
There we go. And I guess there is like they even have like a stage.
Now wait a second. Yeah, that does look like a stage where people can perform, but it a little bit looks like
two TVs in the back.
okay. So what is happening now? This is like a whole thing.
It says an insane DJ deck.
Okay, that's what's going on. Wow,
And
they are
so
throwing Zelda parties.
it was for a Zelda party that looks to be one of the coolest events that we weren't invited to. But I mean, I found this and I want to put the link so that way other people can see these photos because
this tracks
this is the definition of Wowzer's trousers
of a mega fan moment.
Yeah.
Like a mega fan project. I mean, some of the stuff I've been finding is like cool skill or maybe interesting things, but this is epic.
I mean,
this is massive.
Some of these things alone would make the list, let alone
Yes,
one person
yes.
doing all of this for a party that they threw for the Zelda franchise.
Man alive.
10 out of 10. All right. So now
I completely agree.
we are at our
top.
So
that wasn't your top.
That's impressive to boot. But the last one I got is
So maybe your second one was like sheer scale and commitment. Because there's some creativity too to some of these. Like, you know, I feel like the Zelda house for the kids, it had a little bit more creativity. Okay, fine. So my number one is I chose this to be my number one Zelda fan expressions because this is another YouTube channel, but I watch this person. I just adore this guy. He goes by North of the Border. He's a like a craft hobbyist.
Okay.
And he has a camera that shoots down on his table. And there's actually like 5 or 6 of these people. There's more than that, but there's like 5 or 6 that I subscribe to that do this. But North of the Border and everyone dips their toes into Zelda stuff here and there. But North of the Border is the YouTube channel's name. I literally know that to be his name because I don't know. I'm sure it's in the credits, and I'm so sorry.
I'm sure that's his actual given name.
Yeah, I have a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's probably just Canada.
Or Colin.
It's probably Colin.
It's probably Colin.
So North of the Border caught my attention when he made a Temple of Time book nook. And
A book nook.
Yeah, book nook. It's like reverse bookends. Have you ever seen these?
Reverse bookends.
So if you have many books on your bookshelf,
Okay.
a book nook is something that's about maybe it's 3 to 6 inches wide.
Okay.
Maybe it's 7 inches deep, like a book.
Okay.
And then you put a little diorama in there.
Oh, okay.
And so another version
Little
of
mouse house.
Yeah, it's like something. So like I know there's like a diagonally book nook out there somewhere.
Got
It
it.
kind of looks
Okay.
like the city goes back. And so
Okay.
if you're a bookish kind of person with a library and you throw these in just for nerdy fun.
Okay.
And so I say reverse
Bookends.
Bookend because
goes
the
in
books
middle.
hold it.
Yeah, got
yeah,
it.
yeah,
got it,
yeah.
got it,
You
got
might
it.
still have to have actual bookends. So a book nook. He does book nooks and stuff like that. But he did a full not I think it's Outset Island from Wind Waker model that's beautiful, and he does really, really good Zelda stuff. There's other people that do Zelda things too, but every, I don't know, fourth video he's doing some kind of Zelda thing.
Okay.
And he talks about being a big Zelda fan, and he's got a great style, a great sense of humor. He's a pleasure to watch. He sometimes makes fun of himself a little bit if he is wrestling with the glue on the wood or something. Really, really a pleasure to watch, and you can tell he's a fan. And a lot of times his opening line is something like, I'm so and so. Oh, he probably says his name. I'm so and so, and I like to make nerdy things.
I hope he listens to this, and so the next video he makes, he just looks at the
North of the
camera and
border,
says,
I'm sorry.
"David, I am so and so." That'd be fantastic.
I mean, in the meantime, I could probably pull up the stinking channel here, but I highly recommend. And he did a Molduga attacking Link, and he even worked it out so that Link is holding a Breath of the Wild bomb. Molduga's those big, huge, like,
Circle or square?
I think it was a circle.
Okay, good.
And it was hooked up to an LED. And the way he made it is he had an LED and he kept globbing on hot glue to it and built up the bomb around the LED and then painted it correctly.
Brilliant.
So Link's holding up, it's glowing, and the Molduga's like coming out of the ground. They're the big kind of like tremor whales that are in the desert that sometimes attack you. Maybe you've never even come across one yet.
I had to defeat one for a shrine, or
That's
no,
true,
it
you
was,
did.
it was a quest in someone's like, "Hey, can you go take care of that thing?"
Yep, that
I
was
didn't.
one.
No, I didn't do it.
Oh, have you seen it at least?
I mean, I died by it a few times, and I was
Got
like,
it.
I got enough shrines, and you're fine. Like Link can say no every once in a while. He doesn't need to say yes to everyone.
So it's not a specific project, but when it comes to a breadth of projects and a general, I look forward to this gentleman's. I mean, most of his videos at this point, frankly, but like his Zelda, there's probably a solid 10 to 12 craft projects that are just a blast to watch, and they're really great.
Okay.
So I guess that's my number one.
And you're a big book person too. So anything that has book nooks.
Yeah, well, being dyslexic and having to be very tremendously hard for me to read, I just read so many books.
Oh yeah. Did you know you can develop dyslexia in your 30s?
Can you lose it in your 30s? That would have been nice.
Yeah, no. I started developing it,
What,
and
really?
I was just like, why is this so hard for me all of a sudden? So I contacted my dad, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that happens in our family. Right around age 30, yeah,
What?
same thing happened to me." I was like, "You could have warned me, sir. Like, just hey, Dan, just to give you a heads up.
You could have warned me, but you were making models.
Yeah, too busy with your freaking airplanes. Okay, I love you, Dad. So my number one.
Oh my gosh. I just saw your screen. I don't know what's going on.
So my number one, and it's not nearly in the scale as the backyard DJ party, but this one, when I read, I was like, oh, that's flippin' brilliant.
Yeah.
So a gentleman named Alan Pan, what he has done is he has taken his the new, like with Siri and all of the, you can come in and be like, hey Siri, turn on the lights. Hey Siri, do this, or Alexa, how smart houses are becoming pretty.
Oh my gosh, you just triggered my Siri.
Oh my gosh, I won't do that again.
Right there.
Okay. But smart houses are becoming like more and more common, and
Yeah.
what they can do is more and more.
Hey Siri, party mode.
What you guys?
Oh, yeah, it's on. But
You guys can't see it, but a giant disco ball has just come
No.
down in the middle, and dancers have flooded the room.
I have too many
There's
studio lights up.
confetti What was that, David? I can't.
Hey Siri, chill mode.
Okay, and everyone's gone again. But so what Alan has done.
I'm unhappy with some of my devices. Okay, let's get real.
Okay, so what he's done is he has taken, using a Raspberry Pi and a $35 miniature computer, he has set up his house to, depending on what ocarina tune he plays, is what will happen in his house. So if he plays Song of the Sun anywhere in the house, the lights will turn on. If he plays Boreal of Fire, it turns up the heat. The Minuet of Forest, it waters the plants. He has his entire house
He's programmed it to hear the song.
to his
So it's like-
ocarina. So he just, I read that and I was like, oh my gosh, like to bring in Zelda and all that stuff. Like If
So,
he plays
so not only do you have to learn how to play the ocarina,
So there's
then
that.
you have to like write the software that's help recognizing it, or at least asking Alexa to do it or something. So that's interesting because you can't. Is he hacking it in some way or something?
I mean, it doesn't
'Cause
go
I don't think
too
you
much
can be
into the-
like. I don't think you can just say like, "Hey Alexa, when I do this, do this."
because
I
it
think
says
there's, like some.
to make the system work, he used a Raspberry Pi.
Oh right, you
and-
said that.
and a $35 miniature computer, and a series of wirelessly connected microphones and sensors placed throughout his home. Then he programmed the do-it-yourself system to respond to specific songs from the game Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
So I think what's happening is he probably has his little custom computer that he made.
Yeah.
Hearing the ocarina stuff, and that computer might then be pinging Alexa to execute the act, which is talking to the devices.
You
But-
ever
so
think-
he's probably built the computer that's translating the song to the what would normally be like the turn my light off instruction. That's awesome.
You ever think he tries to like do it by whistle? Like,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
ocarina's across the room. He's like, I can knock this off. Like, and he's just like waiting for it and seeing if it works.
I mean, I'm almost more impressed. I'm certainly not more impressed. I'm equally as impressed just having to learn the ocarina and how to play. It's hard to play.
I hope he has like a smart car, like a Tesla, so he plays like a Pona song and it starts.
Oh
up
my
for
god,
him.
it does come to me.
Yeah, like, and the Tesla like crashes through the wall. He's like, "Well, that was poorly thought out." So, but I love tech and just seeing people combine all of it together to make their house, the house experience.
Yeah.
Thrive through the Zelda franchise. I read it and I was like,
Dan,
oh, this
that's
is
a good number one.
This is so fun. This is so fun. And he has a YouTube channel that you can watch. So please, we'll have it down there. But like, these are just,
Maybe we need to title this top 10 YouTube channels we like to watch.
Yeah, top 10.
I mean,
YouTube
but I guess
people.
this is the world we're in a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's expressing their fandom through YouTube channels or I guess Imager accounts.
or Imgur or
Imgur.
whatever. The beautiful little starter that I
Wow,
had back
cool.
then. So that's
Dang,
it. That's our 10.
cool. I guess, yeah, that's great. I think this is definitely a topic to return to. And I think we have to start. We've accidentally done a subcategory in this episode, and it was like craft and creation and stuff like that. I think we 100% now, AZP, be it you and I or other people. I know like Celeste gets really excited about doing like cosplay makeup and stuff like that. Maybe we do like a cosplay one or a clothing one, and maybe like a music artistic one.
I mean, and we didn't even touch the people who are making the weapons.
Right. Yeah.
Like
that
the
might kind of-
metalworking,
that
like
might fit in the, not so much the cosplay, but just like, like the physical.
Yeah, and not like foam sword. Like I'm sure somebody has been over a forge and metal and hammer has just been crafting like
Shane Kelly has a full metal master sword.
Yeah, so people are out there knocking those out left and right.
That's cool. I think we accidentally learned that there's so much more to talk about in this
It
topic.
never stops. It never stops.
But this is a fun top 10. I like this one, Dan.
This is good.
This is great. If people want to find you anywhere, where can they do that? Do you have anything to share? I know you're not on Facebook anymore.
I'm not.
Are you not on Twitter anymore or ever?
Nope.
Not on Instagram anymore.
If you guys would like
ever.
to contact me every once in a while, I'm a guest on a podcast. It's called Another Zelda Podcast. You can contact David Geisler. He can get a hold of me if you guys need anything.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I'll read the comment. I'll just be like, Dan.
Yep, there we go.
Dan. And then
Just
from St. Louis, you'd be
shoot
like,
me a text.
Yeah,
I
that's what
accidentally just made you my secretary.
well, people can find me at Raptor Pain on Instagram and Twitter, and they can find the show at Another Zelda Pod on Twitter, Another Zelda Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Just search Another Zelda Podcast. You will definitely find us. You can go to our website, anotherzeldapodcast.com, where you can get links to actually all this stuff. And also then see our blog posts. We have some group blog posts. We have a lot of great talented writers over there that are putting some things. I almost said putting some things down. Writing articles.
That's the cool way of saying writing articles. So it's okay.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Putting some stuff down.
I'm gonna put this down. Oh, I was trying to come up with another thing, but I think we just get out of here. It's getting late. And Dan, thank you so much. I'll see you in a couple episodes. I've actually probably like 6 episodes for our favorite. What's that one going to be? Favorite.
We're still
Most wanted, like other mediums.
Yeah. If we got to see where we want to see Zelda outside of a video game.
If we could see it expressed outside of a video game.
And maybe a couple pitches, if you have the idea, like, okay, how are you going to do it? Little bit of that.
I like this. I like that. Well, that's to come. We have plenty before that. I think we even have Video Game Summit before that. But nevertheless, Dan, I'll be excited to have that conversation with you at that time.
Oh, yeah. Alrighty. Good night, everyone.
That is not how these episodes end. How dare you?
What did I do? What?
I'm like staring into your soul.
I
right
know.
now.
I feel so.
Fine, I'll do it.
Please.
Hey Dan, I'll catch you later. I'll see you later.
I'll see you later, David.
Okay, bye.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Jeez Louise.
I'm sorry.